All right, welcome back everybody to video 2. In our last video, I went through and took an existing example and we showed you how you could take and working with a series of duplicated masked layers, go in and easily manipulate and alter sections of masked content. So here we're going to pick it up from the beginning, and basically this is the same exact image, and I've given you this as reference, a black and white based image, and these approaches work with color images too. I'm just using black and white to colorize it because it's kind of fun. So I'll show just working with a couple elements what I did. So I've set up my layers. I've pulled my channels off to the side, and I have this opened up right here. I'm going to duplicate the background layer just by right or Alt Option clicking on it and choosing Duplicate Layer. You can also use Command J to do that, but I'll duplicate that background copy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ID what I want to manipulate here. So let's say it's the hair. I'm going to call this hair. And what I'm going to do is go and add on top of that an adjustment to start working with. So just to show you, our adjustments are located. There's an actual dedicated panel to it. If I go under Window, I should be able to bring up my adjustments. But I'm going to bring up my adjustments from way at the bottom where there's that little half circle indicator. So I'll bring that up and I'm going to choose one. So for my example, I'm going to use hue saturation, but you could use really any of these adjustments to do non-destructive based effects to the image. So I'll choose hue saturation to start with. And with that up, I'm going to check the colorize option so that it'll actually tone the black and white, because if I don't have it checked, there's no really color to push around, so it's not going to do much to the image. But if I choose colorize, I can kind of see what my intent is that I want to have this actually change the color of the image. Now, the problem that I have with this is it's affecting the entire image. That's the way adjustment layers work. They're going to take basically any layer underneath it and affect those layers. So regardless if I have the copy on or the background on, it's universally affected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and just kind of turn this off for now and work with just the hair. And the goal being that I can make the hair eventually be purple. So what I would like you to do for this is start getting some organization in place so you can easily isolate the elements. You'll notice that in my others, I had folders associated with each of these elements. So hair, for example, we go in, I have an adjustment that's applied only to the hair. I'll do that on this example. So I'm going to go down to the lower right where there is a little icon to create a new group. Kind of similar to what you may have seen in Illustrator with our vinyl layout project. Groups in Photoshop are defined by folders, and they're not as automatically created as you have in Illustrator, but there's kind of a similar concept. So I'll make a group, and I'm going to name this hair, because that's my intent. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click and drag all the elements that I intend to be in this group into the hair group. I'm also going to adjust the stacking order because I eventually want this adjustment layer to affect the hair. Right now, since it's over the adjustment layer, you won't see that. So I'll just drag it underneath it. There we go. And now it's self-contained, but I still have that same problem. It's toning everything. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and paint a mask. And there's a lot of ways to work with masking, including getting into selections, but I'm keeping this very simple for 141. So what I'm going to do is go up to Layer, and I'm going to go to Layer Mask, and I'm just going to set this to Reveal All. And what that's going to do is give me a blank slate. Basically, this is going to be a starting point. If you remember from our last one, white is completely visible. Black is mask. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go paint on the area that I don't want to see to start. So I'll just grab a brush, make my brush a little bit bigger, and I'm going to start painting on the mask, and you can see it affects that mask base layer as I paint it on. I have the mask selected. If I turn the channel on, you can see that it's painting that red area on, because that's what I've set my mask color. Again, from the last video, I can go in and I can change that to be any color that I really want for a mask, whatever I want. And I'll just go in and kind of brush everything but the hair out to start. And yeah, there are some tips. There's ways where you can brush other areas and invert selections. I can maybe show that one in class, but there's a lot of ways that you can work with selections and masks to adjust what you want to get and what you don't want to get necessarily. You know, or I could just mask paint the entire thing first and then remove area too. There's a lot of ways that I could do it. But I'm just going to go in and, oops, I messed up. Let me go back. Or exit it out of my mask. There we go. Go back and just finish this out and paint in my mask. All right, so there I sort of roughly have the hair now. And if I go in and exit out of my mask layer, what the heck, it still looks the same. Well, the reason is this adjustment is still applying over everything. It's applying all the way down to my background layer. So if I turn off my background layer just to show you, I'll hide it. Oh, there I am. There's what I'm really getting with the hair. But it's not unique to the hair. And you know, this is kind of just the way I want you to build this one, but yeah, you can actually mask just the adjustments themselves instead of masking a copy of the image. But this is kind of nice if I want to separate and see just the elements that way. So what I'm going to do is, with this layer selected, I'm going to right click or Alt Option click on the right side, and I'm going to choose Create Clipping Mask. So what I have is I have the adjustment selected. I choose Create Clipping Mask, and now you're going to get a little down arrow. That adjustment effect is now clipped only to the layer directly underneath it. And if I go in and take a look now, go back out, there I have just that element. So I can turn it off, turn the background off, turn the hair on. So we're kind of using a combination of things. We're clipping a mask in to that specific layer, and I have the hair selected. Now if I want to, I can go back in and really refine that mask, because it's not very clean right now. So I could go in and paint on or off. So maybe I want to paint on matte or paint on a little bit of mask, and maybe I don't want my brush so big, so I can refine that selection a little bit. And here maybe I want to paint off mask, so I'm going to just switch over to white so I can paint the other way, go the other way with it, and really clean it up. And I'm going rough shot. For your project, you'll really want to kind of get in there and work with the detail. Like, for example, this going up into the hairline here, I probably need to clean that up a little bit. Oops, I'm going to hit the X key to switch my colors. Clean that up a little bit. This is a really pretty rough mask, but I'm okay with fairly rough mask for a 141 kind of learning project. Let's go back, turn the mask off, and yes, only the affected areas are hit. So to do this now, I could continue on and do the exact same thing for the next steps. Maybe I'll duplicate my background layer, and I'm just going to kind of depend what I want to do. So let's say I want to do like the shirt sleeves. So I'll call it shirt, this layer. And I would do the same thing. I'd make a group for the shirt, adding a new folder. I'll put that within it. I'll worry about the adjustment next. I'm just going to go in and start a mask out. So I'm going to go to layer. I'm going to go to layer mask, and I'll just say, in fact, what I'll do is I did reveal all last time. That made a totally clean mask. I think what I'll do is do hide all this time. It's going to give me a totally filled blackened mask, and I'll just paint on what I want instead. of painting off. So if I turn this mask on, there we go, it's fully on. I'm going to switch over to my brush. Take a nice big brush to start, and I'll just paint on the shirt, why not? As opposed to painting it off. Different ways to do it. And you'll need to get in and kind of work with the detail and change your brush size, so those brackets help a lot to work with. All right, so I've got one sleeve here, or at least roughly. I could go in and really clean this up, but I'm going quick for the demo. Same thing, let's paint the other sleeve in. All right, my mask has been applied, I'll exit it. Now I'm going to throw an adjustment into this folder. I'll do the same thing as I did before. I'm going to use a hue saturation, but I encourage you to play with, all of these. You can have fun with this thing. Make a funky, cool image. So I'll put in my hue saturation, and I'm going to colorize, and maybe I'll make the shirt kind of green, and it's affecting everything. So yes, I need to right-click on that, or Alt-Option-click on the right side of that, and choose Create Clipping Mask. So it clips down to just the shirt beneath it. So now I have a separation of a shirt mask, a hair mask, the composite of both over the background, and we're ready to go. So that's the essentials behind the build process that I'm using for this specific project.